Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast today is brought to you by our Patreon page. Visit patreon.com/Gear Network. That's Patreon, patreon.com/GERE Network. And look over the memberships to subscribe. For as little as $1 a month, you could receive this podcast and every other podcast from January 1st of 2020 onward, completely commercial-free, as well as advanced releases of every podcast. If you sign up for as little as $3.50 or more, you not only get that tier, but you also get exclusive podcasts, exclusive content, including the brand new GNE podcast, Gear Network exclusive podcast, starring me, John Cimino, of course. So, again, patreon.com/Gear Network, completely commercial-free and exclusive content. Do it right now for as little as $1 a month.
GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Hey, this is Cher Ross from Vixen, and you're listening to the All Bets Are Off podcast with Robbie Vegas.
What's up, rock soldiers, and thank you for joining me once again. Another episode of the All Bets Are Off podcast coming at you right now, and I'm your host, the rock star Robbie Vegas. Today, my guest is Melia Maccarone. Melia is a guitarist, a singer-songwriter, and she definitely rocks, so make sure you check her out after you listen to this interview if you haven't already. We'll bring you more information on her albums, where you can find them, and how you can follow her on social media as soon as the interview concludes. So before we get into that, I do want to remind you that we are still working with the Nickel City Con, so Horrorfest and Comic Con are still on as of right now. If there's any cancellations, we'll let you know. And again, there's a huge list of guests, and we'll go over that with you after Melia's interview as well. Please make sure you support the people that support us. If you go to unchainedmuscle.uk for your workout apparel, you can use code RVegas20 to save yourself 20% on your order. I'm talking leggings, tank tops, t-shirts, shaker bottles, gym bags, hats. They got a lot of things going, and if you buy from the mental health charity section, they will donate to mental health charity. So make sure you check that out, and let's not waste any more time and get Melia on the phone. All right, Melia, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to do this.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
So let's kind of just jump right in. I want to know how old you were when you started to play the guitar.
I started playing at 16.
Okay, what got you into that?
I was really into Green Day and Nirvana, My Chemical Romance, a lot of different bands at the time, and I always loved writing lyrics and whatnot, and had always loved music, so I really wanted to start playing the guitar.
Do you consider 16 to be like a late start for somebody?
Yeah, it's late, but I think I made up for it pretty well.
Yeah, I would say.
I mean, like when I was younger, I was pretty determined. It wasn't like just something I decided to like try. I mean, once I got into it, I was really practicing hard every day, and in the summers, I ended up practicing, like I gave myself like a schedule, like an 8-hour schedule. Mm-hmm. So I worked really hard is what I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, like my parents, I wanted lessons at 14. They wanted to make sure I was serious about it. And so they made me wait, and I just made sure I stayed consistent with asking them, and eventually I ended up getting lessons. So. Okay. Now, would you say you picked it up pretty quickly? Yeah, it felt natural to me. So I think it was a combination of just feeling like it was natural, but also just the hard work that I put into it. Okay. So when did you know that you also wanted to be a singer? I was 17, and that was more because I had a high school band, and we were try and find a singer. We couldn't. And I ended up just taking the lead on the vocals. And over time, I think it just kind of happened that way. And I really liked writing the lyrics, and I liked singing, and I liked writing the songs. So it turned into, kind of morphed into me being a singer as well, which also morphed into being a singer-songwriter, solo artist, because I ended up usually doing a lot of the writing and whatnot too. Okay,
so it was nothing that you really planned on. It just kind of organically happened for you.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so how old were you when you actually played your first gig?
I was 17 when we played our first gig. It was with my high school band. It was at a local bar, and it was fun. It's funny. Like, now that I look back, it just makes me laugh thinking about it. But because I was so nervous, but it was, over time you get less and less nervous. And so I was only 17 when we had our first show.
Wow, you must have picked it up very quickly then to be starting at 16 and playing gigs at 17.
Yeah, I was actually, I was playing gigs, and then I actually got hired to teach guitar at 17.
Wow.
So I was doing a lot at once. So, but it was, I was just happy to be doing it. Music really consumed my life, so.
Well, it shows, because in 2012 and 2013, you were named the best female rock artist at the Indie Music Channel Awards. So how did you feel when that came about?
I was just happy that I was even, nominated. So I was just happy to be there and just be nominated. But when I actually won, it was definitely surreal. I think the biggest thing I felt was just I felt really happy because I just felt like my music resonated with people, and I think that's kind of, all my songs are very personal, so I felt very connected to people, and was happy that it was resonating with others.
Well, speaking of your songs being personal, when I listen to your music, I feel like you have a very unique writing style, and
thank you.
It really feels like it could change by the song. So where do you find inspirations for a song like Deep Waters as compared to Charged Like a Bull?
So Deep Waters, I listen to a lot. So especially I mainly listen to rock music, but then I started getting into jazz training, classical training, and then just through that, aside from that, actually, I listened to a lot of Radiohead, Fiona Apple. My mom always listened to Fiona Apple, so I ended up getting really into that. And Regina Spektor, Billy Joel, and so I think that those artists kind of a lot of times they kind of just infiltrate into my songwriting organically.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that those are probably where my influences came from for Deep Waters. And then Charged Like a Bull would be more like the Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana end of it. At the time, I had opened for Theory of a Dead Man, and I was listening to a lot of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just kind of morphed into, it depends on the time and what I'm listening to. So.
Okay, now, because your song VIP almost has a punk rock, but also 1950s vibe to it as well. What inspired that one?
That one, I listened to a lot of No Doubt as well, all over the place in terms of listening to music, so I guess that probably explains it. But No Doubt, Garbage, again, Fiona Apple, Regina Spektor, some different styles, and they're all kind of different from each other in their own ways. And I think that VIP really came about from that. I came up with the melody and it was kind of one of those things, everything was in my head, and I put lyrics to it later. But that kind of, I think a lot of times, like I said, a lot of artists kind of morph into whatever I'm feeling at the moment. If I listen to them a lot, it kind of sinks into my brain and kind of morphs into my own version of the song. So.
Okay. So you touched on a few things just now that I want to get back to. You said some of your musical tastes came from your mom. Were your parents big into music? Is that what made you want to play guitar in the first place? Or was it just your own discovery of bands like Green Day?
Well, I know my mom listened to Fiona Apple and my dad when she was big. When she was really big, I was a little kid, but they always had her CD lying around. And then, as I got older, I got into Green Day a lot and My Chemical Romance a lot. And they were big rock fans too. They listened to Zeppelin, Queen. So they were very not only supportive of me going to concerts, but they listened to a lot of the same stuff. So I think we both kind of influenced each other on different rock artists. And in Fiona Apple and things like that, Radiohead, No Doubt was another one my mom listened to. And, I think that I just kind of over time started listening to some of the same things.
Okay, very cool. So you mentioned that you also played with Theory of a Dead Man, but who are some of your favorite artists that you've opened up for or performed with?
Steve Vai is probably my favorite.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And Lita Ford, Nita Strauss, Hailstorm, 21 Pilots, all of those. Everybody I've opened for, it's always like been an honor. But I really enjoyed playing for those artists. Did
you ever find yourself starstruck when you were playing with any of them?
Yes. I think, I didn't really get to talk to Steve Vai or anything, but I was just starstruck that I was even on a stage opening up for him. So I just, I was just like, I can't even believe I'm here. But so that was pretty huge. And even Nita's pretty down to earth, and Lita Ford, when I talked to them, it felt surreal, especially Lita, because I was really into the Runaways.
Okay.
And she was like, for me, like her and Joan Jett were like the first girl guitarists that I knew of. And I was just like, oh my God, like I can't even believe that's happening. But yeah, it was fun. It was really fun, but definitely Lita and Steve Vai.
Okay. So kind of sticking on that same topic, who are some of your biggest influences within the music business?
I would say my biggest influences were definitely like Nirvana. I was big into 90s stuff. So Nirvana, the whole grunge era, Smashing Pumpkins, Radiohead, but I also was really into Joan Jett, Runaways, and Jennifer Batten. So I got really into her when I started guitar because, I didn't really know who she was until my instructor told me who she was, that she played for Michael Jackson, and I just got really into her style. I thought she was just incredible. So I think she's a huge influence on me, not only just as a guitar player, but just breaking down the barriers and just like Joan Jett in the same kind of vein.
Okay. So now I want you to do something that's going to probably be a little difficult, but out of everybody you just named, who would your Mount Rushmore of your favorite bands or artists be?
I would say, so I can use bands too, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. Joan Jett, Hendrix, Nirvana, and that's tough. Green Day? Probably Green Day.
That is a really cool Mount Rushmore. That's like all different styles of everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, obviously you're still out there. You're still going strong. So can you tell me some artists that you haven't played with yet, but you'd like to tour with or play with?
Yes. I really want to play with Joan Jett. Like if I could open for Joan Jett, like my life would be complete. And the Smashing Pumpkins, I've always been a huge Smashing Pumpkins fan, and now that they're all back together, I really want to open up for them.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say those two are my biggest ones. I mean, if Nirvana was still around, then that would just kind of trump everybody, I think. But obviously they aren't, so that would be my next choice.
Okay, very cool, very cool. My next question is about your personal music. So when are we going to hear a new release from you? And if you already have a date or a plan for that, do you have a name for the next album yet?
I don't. I have ideas. I don't have anything clear yet, though. So until I have a really clear-cut answer, because I've just got a bunch of different ideas right now in terms of the title. But I have been writing a lot, and I do plan to go back in the studio within the next year. I might release singles, or I might do an EP. I'm not entirely sure on that yet, but that's an idea that I'm playing with, is doing some singles so people don't have to wait so long in between EPs and whatnot.
Okay, very cool. So we're going to kind of now throw some curveball questions at you, because this podcast, we talk a lot about music and we interview a lot of musicians, but we also interview professional wrestlers and people who are involved in horror movies and paranormal and things like that. So first question is, are you a fan of horror movies?
I don't know. I'm not really. I'm a big, I'm kind of scared of everything. So, I don't know, scary movies, I'm not, the person to be with. I'm always terrified. So, probably not horror movies so much, but...
So you'd be like the person in the theater who would scream and scare everybody else?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm very jumpy, too. So, even if it's not even that scary, if it makes you jump, then I'm, going to be that person that is making it miserable for everybody.
Gotcha. So, next question then, are you a fan of professional wrestling?
Not really. I've never really gotten into that. I guess growing up I knew about it, You know, like I'm sure my dad and stuff had it on, but I'm not really into it too much.
Okay. And we're going to keep on this subject of curveball questions. Give me 3 people that you would like to have dinner with, living or dead, that you've never met.
Kurt Cobain. 3? Oh my gosh. Kurt Cobain and Fiona Apple. And that's a tough question. Maybe one more. I'll say Joan Jett.
So does that mean you'll be going to see the Joan Jett, Poison, Motley Crue, and Def Leppard stadium tour?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I always make sure I see Joan. You know, she came here once, and it was like, I don't know, the crowd that we had that day was so weird. It was like kind of an outdoorsy thing, but like people like were all in lawn chairs. It was the strangest show I've ever seen. And I was like the only person with my mom, by the way, we still go to shows together, up front, like with a few people like screaming, and it was like really rock show. But like it was so funny because you would walk 10 feet away from there, and it was like lawn chairs. And so strange. So yes, I want to see her again.
Okay,
definitely.
Cool. Now, do you think, as you know, you're a female musician yourself, so looking at that, you know, stadium lineup and that show with Joan Jett, do you think that she fits that bill with those other 3 bands?
I think so. I mean, I'd like her to, personally, I'd like to see her like headline her own thing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think that it's all within the same vein in terms of rock, and you know, I think they're all their own kind of style of rock. I think Joan's just she's so punk sounding. She's always going to sound a little bit different unless you put her with like a straight up like punk Runaways sort of band. But I've always just gone to see her, if I'm being honest.
Okay, that's fair enough. So we talked a lot about, you know, the bands that you like and you're influenced by, but the reason I asked about the Joan Jett and that tour is because that 80s hair metal genre is kind of making a comeback right now. There's the Rat tour that's coming around and the stadium tour and all that, and I just didn't see how Joan would fit into that, but...
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is kind of weird. I mean, like when I saw her, I'm trying to think who she played with when I saw her at that show I was telling you about, where it was like lawn chairs. I can't remember she was with Cheap Trick once when I saw her, which I thought was cool because I like Cheap Trick, but I just always kind of feel like she's just her own kind of vein anyway. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It is kind of like a strange fit.
Right.
But I just go for wherever she is. I don't care. I'll go.
Now, are you a fan of the 80s hair metal genre itself?
Not particularly. It's not my favorite. I don't want to say I'm not a fan, but it's definitely not like the 90s were really huge for me, and like the 70s are really huge for me. So
what is your, you know, with your own career, what would you say your end goal is right now?
I just want to keep writing and be creative. I really love writing. It's a big part of why I do this. And just, you know, I think that as long as I keep writing songs that I like and I'm happy with, I want to just keep playing them live and touring and doing as much as I can to get people to hear them.
Would you say that you have a bucket list of things you'd still like to complete?
I mean, yeah, I would love to tour Europe. That's like the biggest thing I want to do.
Okay.
It's super tough, obviously, right now. Don't even get me started on the coronavirus, but like that obviously is a big factor in why I'm not there. But also, you know, financially, it's tough as a musician. It really is. It's not the same as it was when I was growing up. Even it's just different. And then when you're supporting yourself, it's hard to have the funds to record and tour and go all the way to Europe. But I'd love to do that because I have a lot of people in Europe that want me to come there. So.
Oh, that would be amazing. And I was actually going to ask about the coronavirus when you said Europe, but we'll just skip right over that for now. What upcoming gigs do you have going on right now, or any kind of events that you have coming up?
So I have the Hard Rock Cafe in Niagara Falls coming up on the 26th of March, and it'll actually be a 3-hour show, so it's a little longer than what I'm used to.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be fun. It'll be like a whole night of Melia music, and then I'm throwing some covers in there for fun that we can kind of just jam on. And then after that is April 25th, Guitar Fest, and that will be in Pennsylvania. So I'm excited for that. I'm going to be playing the kickoff show. And yeah, I mean, hopefully everything stays the same. But, you know, if there are any cancellations, you can always go on my website, MeliaRocks.com, or my Instagram @MeliaRocks to find out more information. But as of right now, those are all still on.
Okay, so now you're the singer, you're the songwriter, you're the guitarist. Do you always have the same band behind you, or have you gone through like lineup changes and just kept rolling?
Yeah, I've gone through some changes. I think in the last year or so, though, I've had a pretty consistent lineup. A lot of times when they change, it's either due to just can't make all the shows or they're in other bands. So I did switch out my guitar player, but otherwise, yeah, my drummer, Eric, has been with me for probably over 5 years now. And Eugene's been with me. He's my bass player for about a year, and Pete a few months. So, but my guitar player before that was with me for a few years. So, yeah, it depends. But for the most part, we stay pretty consistent as much as we can.
Okay, cool. So similar to like what Ted Nugent would do or Wednesday 13 or bands like that.
Exactly.
Okay, very cool. So I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're probably busy, but can you just take the time to let everybody know where they could find your albums, plug your website again, get them on all your social media so they could follow you and all that stuff?
Yeah, so you can follow me on meliarocks.com. That will give you access to all of my other social media accounts. But I am on Instagram at Melia Rocks. Twitter at Melia Maccarone, YouTube Melia Rocks. You can find my albums, my music, singles on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, all that good stuff. And then otherwise, you can always get a hard copy from my website or at my shows.
Okay, very cool. And you mentioned YouTube. Does that mean you have music videos out there too?
I do. I have a music video out for Bats Beneath Moonlight and Soundproof Walls, and then I have some live stuff that I put up there. And I will stay tuned because I will be adding a lot more videos over the next few months. Just either covers or tutorials on how to play certain songs or my own songs.
Excellent. Very cool. Well, yeah. I truly appreciate you joining us. That's going to wrap it up for today. Hopefully after your next release, we can get you back on and just have you promote it and plug it and put it out there. Okay, very cool. Then we will put a tentative date on that until that release comes out, and we will talk to you again in the future.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
And I slept through the burial. I never took the time to mourn. And I skipped the ceremonials as we sat in the morn. And I made it to the services. We couldn't tear open the door. I'll meet you at the mausoleum where I once lost you. Wrap my bones around you tight before we both start to fight. Let's dance in the darkness like two bats beneath moonlight. Tied alone just out of spite. Comatose, let's reunite. Let's dance in the darkness like two bats beneath.
All right, rockers, I hope you really enjoyed that interview, learned something new about Melia, and if you haven't heard of her before, I hope you're going to check her out now. So make sure you get on all those sites that she told you about, meliarocks.com, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and check her out, buy her music, support, and if she's in your area, make sure you get out and go see that show. So before I let you go, just a quick rundown of the Nickel City Con guests right now. Not all of them, but just a handful that I know you guys will be interested in. We talked about this on last week's episode, so I'm not going to go through them all again, but make sure you check out Lex Luger, Sergeant Slaughter, and Sting. There's Danielle Harris. There's Rico Browning, who's the original Creature from the Black Lagoon. And, of course, there's Anthony Michael Hall, Edward Scissorhands, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, 16 Candles, Ralph Macchio of The Karate Kid. And, of course, that's May 15th through the 17th. Prices are on the nickelcitycon.com website. And make sure you're following them on social media as well, Instagram and Twitter. So that's it for us this week on the All Bets Are Off podcast. We hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you next time.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Do you like sports, interactive polls, friendly banter from two guys that probably shouldn't even be on the microphone doing this stuff anyways? Well, if you do, then you're in luck. Us two knuckleheads, Brandon and myself, comprise the Listen In podcast. That's right, Listen In, the podcast. We're talking sports, we're talking news, we're talking topical things, we're talking all sorts of things, my babies. And you are all invited to listen in right here on the Gear Radio Network.